Yo, what's up, dudes? Thanks for clicking on this video where you're going to see me do a piece of art, a revamp of my poster for my comic Starfire Helios. I'm an aspiring comic artist, manga artist, you could say. I'm American, and I have a really stressful day job. I'm a freaking correctional officer. I work in a freaking jail, and it's tough. And so art for me is like an escape, and I love doing it. So even if I was my only audience, and nobody else got on board with me, I'd still be doing it because I love art and I love storytelling. So if you couldn't already tell, I'm new to the whole YouTubes. And why am I on YouTube? Well, two reasons. First reason is art is lonely sometimes, and I want to connect with all of you wonderful, beautiful people. And second reason, and the biggest reason, is because I've got a comic to promote. My sci-fi shonen action comic, Starfire Helios. And if you're asking yourself, where can you read this comic? Bad news is you can't right now. There's nowhere to read it right now. But I've been working hard, diligently, stockpiling content, and plan on releasing it next year, guaranteed. Hopefully, early next year. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me. So now let's get into the video. And because I know there are those that are interested in the more technical side of things, I got this here drawing that I did traditionally a while ago, like 2 years ago. And I bring it over to this scanner here, a simple scanner that I got, and I place it right on there, nice and sexy like. It's just an HP NV, whatever that number is, and it uploads on my computer. I click that save icon, I save it as a JPEG so I can open it up in Clip Studio Paint, which is the software I use. And I be using that beautiful Wacom Cintiq 16 Pro tablet to be drawn on. It treats me well. And now, just like that, we're ready to get in and start cleaning up this bad boy. So while I do that, I want to go ahead and share just a little taste of my project. So Starfire Helios, or SFH abbreviation, is a sci-fi shonen, which means it'll feel similar in many ways to other popular shonen stories where action and fighting is at the forefront. However, mine is set in a sci-fi interplanetary setting, so maybe a little bit like Dragon Ball Z in that way. I think that's the only shonen that comes to my head that there's space travel. And while fighting is definitely going to be very prominent in my story, there's going to be a whole lot of action, dudes. There's also going to be some more mature themes in nature that drive the narrative. And what I mean by that is things like war and politics, and some of that type of stuff that you might see in something like Attack on Titan. There is that. It is present, and it does drive the plot forward. So as a writer, I'm a fan of the following things. First, moral ambiguity. I'm not much for writing a classic good versus bad type story. So in my story, expect something that will allow for everyone to have their own interpretation on who's right or wrong. That's how real life is. That's what I like. I think that's what's cool and fun. It allows for people to have sort of their own interpretation on a story. I'm also a fan of proper romance, like real romance, dudes, because that's not something you see in shonen at all. You see cute little teases at romance, but nothing for real. So yeah, unlike probably any other shonen you've seen, and let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, I love real romances too much to not include them in my story. But I do want to clarify, in my story, romance is only like a seasoning, right? It's not the actual meat. And it's just an extra layer to spice up the narrative. I'm not going to be writing like a romance manga. And another thing I'm a huge fan of is world building. One of the big reasons I wanted to have an interplanetary setting is because it's like a world builder's playground, baby. I plan on thoroughly exploring many different planets, biomes, cultures, cities, etc., all with a fresh sci-fi twist. Oh yeah. So now for the big question, what is Starfire Helios? So as I've said in my previous video, the one I just made like last week, Starfire Helios was born of a very simple premise. The premise was, what if the stars were gods and could give powers to people under their light, right? And I talked a little bit in the last video about different star types and such that I was playing around with. And so that was the very first thought I had when this story was born. And then after that, another thing that I want to share is that whenever I watched shows like Star Wars or Star Trek or other sci-fi or space travel type shows, I always ask myself, how do humans peacefully intermingle with all these aliens? Like if you're watching Star Wars, for example, on Tatooine, on Coruscant, on any of those planets that they're at, man, they be intermingling. They're just like chatting, having a grand old time. These like crazy, weird looking aliens and humans. And honestly, I was sitting there thinking, like, if there's one thing humanity is good at as a whole, it's discriminating based on physical appearance. That's been present forever, since the beginning of our history. And so it seemed more realistic to me if all these different species were at war or otherwise at each other's throats. And thus the secondary premise of Starfire Helios was born. So combining the two premises, it quickly became, what if all the different species use magical star powers to battle each other? So that's all I care to say for now regarding the plot. Don't want to dive too deep in. I'll let my actual comic share more. But I'll end by saying that this is a story of truly epic proportions because that's just how I operate. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it big. And out of necessity, a big world means lots of characters. And so I've worked hard to make them all of my characters stylistically unique and with varied personalities. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of something for everybody, so everybody can have a bit of a favorite character in here in this world. And I'm in love with my cast, baby. I think they're awesome characters. I think they're fun, and I worked hard on designing them. Hopefully they're cool to you too. Right here in this piece of art, you can see 6 of my main characters. You can probably guess who here is the protagonist. It's this guy right here. Nah, I'm just playing. Yeah, it's the dude in the middle. Surprise. His name is Taio Gendo. Next to him are his 2 bestest friends ever, Rodney McAllister and Yuri Abka. Top row, we've got Prima Bach on the left. She freaky. Watch out for her, man. Gunther on the right, who I predict will be a fan favorite because he's just a beaut. And in the middle is Ulysses Seiki, Commander Ulysses Seiki. So, as you've seen, I've had to chop up this recording a little bit of this drawing just to, keep it tight-knit and try to keep it around that 10-minute mark because if the original footage would have gone super long. But I hope you enjoy the art anyway, even with it being a little bit choppy and jumping around a little bit. I had tons of fun with it, and I think it turned out pretty sexy. So also, please give me a follow on Instagram as well. I'm uploading like daily on there. It's a new account. I didn't use Instagram ever before. And so I've only got I don't even know, a little more than 10 posts on there right now. But I've been uploading pretty much daily since I started it. So please go drop a follow over on Instagram. The link is in the description. And then also Facebook as well. If you don't do Instagram, then on Facebook I'll be posting all of the same content on there. So that way you can follow me and stay updated on new YouTube videos and also stay updated on the process of this comic and when it will be available for all of you guys. Thank you. So, like I said, I'm pushing to start releasing actual comic very soon. Hopefully very, very soon. If possible, I could be releasing as early as February or March of next year. I'm trying to finish that volume 1. I'm trying to get, my original plan was to get a full volume under my belt before I went public with the actual comic. So, sit tight, folks, and I'll be getting that to you real soon. I'm a lone wolf, all self-published, and I'll be posting more info about where that will be available when the time comes. Right now it is just me, and with a busy work schedule, there have been many times where making this has felt like a freaking crawl. I'd love to dedicate more time with it, but I've got bills to pay, mouths to feed, they ain't nothing in this world for free. Nah, but for real, I have limited time. But this is my passion, and hopefully that'll show through in the comic itself. And since I know right now lots of my audience aren't artists, I want to know what your passion is. So go ahead and drop a comment and tell me a little bit about what gets you excited, whether it's video games, crafting, sports, or whatever else. There's nothing better than having a hobby that you're passionate about, so share a bit of that with the rest of us, would you? Alright, dudes, go give this old artist a like and drop a subscribe if you would, please. Then you can get notified and join me the next time I'm up in the Youbes. Okay, peace, chooms.